Research suggests that more than half of couples over 60 have not been physically intimate in the past year. Not because the desire is completely gone, not because the relationship has failed, but because physical intimacy, like so many things, quietly stopped being prioritized, and then quietly became harder to restart, and then quietly became something neither partner knew how to bring back. What almost nobody is telling those couples, and what this video is going to address directly, is that prolonged physical absence has documented biological consequences, not just emotional ones, physical ones, measurable ones, consequences that affect the body of both partners in ways that make the return to intimacy progressively more difficult over time. In this video, I'm going to walk you through 5 things that happen to the body when physical intimacy is absent for extended periods after 60. Some of them will be familiar, some will surprise you. But the 5th one, the one that affects the relationship itself, at the neurological level, is the one that changes how you understand why restarting intimacy feels so much harder than it used to, and what to do about it. Stay with me. Here is how physical intimacy typically disappears from a long-term relationship. Not with a decision, not with a conversation, with a series of small deferrals. Not tonight, I'm too tired. Not this week, there is too much going on. We will find time soon. And then weeks become months, and months become a year. And somewhere in that time, the subject becomes something neither partner knows how to raise without it feeling like an accusation. So it does not get raised, and the absence becomes the new normal. If that describes your relationship, even partially, I want you to hear something before we go any further. This is one of the most common patterns in long-term relationships after 60. You are not unusual, you are not broken, and the distance you are feeling is not permanent. But the body keeps score, and understanding what is happening physically in your body and your partner's body during that absence is the first step toward changing it. 1. Prostate health declines in men, the risk most doctors never mention. The prostate gland produces fluid continuously. When that fluid is not regularly cleared through ejaculation, whether through partnered intimacy or any other form of sexual activity, it accumulates within the gland. Stagnant prostatic fluid creates an environment of increased oxidative stress and potential carcinogen accumulation within the gland tissue itself. A landmark study published in a major medical journal followed over 29,000 men and found that those who ejaculated 21 or more times per month had a 33% lower risk of prostate cancer than those who ejaculated 4 to 7 times per month. The mechanism is biological, the evidence is substantial, and the vast majority of men over 60 have never been told this by a doctor. Here is the relationship reframe that matters. Prostate health after 60 is not just a medical concern. It is a shared concern. The couple that maintains regular physical intimacy is actively protecting the long-term health of the man in the relationship. That is not a romantic notion, that is biology. And it is worth having the conversation. Consequence 1 is specific to men. Consequence 2 is specific to women. And it is something almost no woman over 60 has ever been told by a healthcare provider. 2. Vaginal atrophy accelerates in women, the progressive change nobody warns about. After menopause, estrogen levels decline significantly. Estrogen is the hormone responsible for maintaining the health, elasticity, and natural lubrication of vaginal tissue. As estrogen declines, that tissue gradually thins and loses elasticity, a process called vaginal atrophy. Here is what most women are not told. Regular physical intimacy, including any form that involves physical stimulation, maintains blood flow to vaginal tissue and significantly slows this process. The increased circulation supports tissue health, maintains natural lubrication, and preserves the physical capacity for comfortable intimacy. When physical intimacy is absent for extended periods, that protective blood flow decreases, the atrophy accelerates, and the return to physical intimacy, when desired, becomes progressively more uncomfortable. Not impossible, but harder than it needed to be, because of an absence that could have been prevented. If you are a woman watching this is information your gynecologist should have given you years ago. The body's capacity for intimacy is not a fixed asset that either works or does not. It is a living system. It responds to use, and it can be maintained gently, consistently, without pressure, in ways that make the later years of a relationship physically available in a way that is comfortable and genuinely wanted. Consequences 1 and 2 are specific to each partner individually. Consequence 3 affects both partners equally, and it is the one most couples find most surprising. 3. Cardiovascular health declines. The exercise nobody counts. Physical intimacy is moderate cardiovascular exercise. During a typical intimate encounter, heart rate elevates to between 110 and 130 beats per minute, equivalent to a brisk walk or a gentle jog. Blood pressure drops temporarily, circulation increases throughout the body, and the cardiovascular system receives a workout that most couples over 60 are quietly removing from their lives without replacing it. A study published in the American Journal of Cardiology found that men who were sexually active twice a week or more had a significantly lower risk of cardiovascular disease than those who were sexually active once a month or less. The effect was independent of other lifestyle factors, including exercise. Physical intimacy was providing cardiovascular protection on its own. Here is the reframe worth holding. For couples over 60 who are concerned about heart health, who walk, who watch their diet, who take their medication, physical intimacy is not a luxury addition to a healthy lifestyle. It is part of the healthy lifestyle, a part with documented cardiovascular benefits that no other activity replicates in quite the same way. Consequence 4 moves from the physical to the neurological, and its effect on mood, resilience, and emotional connection is something that compounds over time in ways most couples never anticipate. 4. Neurochemical depletion, the mood consequences of physical absence. Physical intimacy triggers one of the most powerful neurochemical responses available to the human brain. Oxytocin, the bonding hormone, is released in significant quantities during physical closeness, touch, and intimacy. Dopamine, the reward and anticipation neurotransmitter, spikes during desire and connection. Serotonin, the mood stabilizer, rises in the aftermath of intimate contact. And endorphins, the body's natural pain and stress relievers, flood the system during and after physical intimacy. When physical intimacy is absent for extended periods, the brain loses one of its most reliable sources of all 4 of these compounds simultaneously. The effect is not dramatic, it is gradual. A slow flattening of mood, a reduction in resilience, a slight increase in irritability and emotional reactivity, a diminished sense of felt connection with the person sharing your life. Here is the insidious aspect of neurochemical depletion in long-term relationships. As the neurochemical rewards of intimacy become less available, the motivation to pursue intimacy decreases. Lower motivation leads to longer absence. Longer absence leads to further depletion. Further depletion leads to lower motivation still. This is not a moral failure, it is a feedback loop, a biological cycle that reinforces itself until something, information, conversation, a deliberate choice, interrupts it. This video is that interruption. But consequence 5 is the one that explains why restarting intimacy after a long absence feels so unfamiliar. Why it feels almost like starting over with someone you have known for decades. And what is actually happening in the brain when that feeling arises. 5 neural pathway weakening, why restarting feels so hard. The brain learns intimacy the same way it learns everything else. Through repetition. Every time physical closeness occurs between two partners. Every touch, every moment of shared physical warmth. The neural pathways associated with that closeness are activated and strengthened. They become faster, more automatic, more natural. And when physical closeness is absent for extended periods, those same pathways weaken. Not permanently, not irreversibly, but measurably. The neurological ease of physical intimacy. The quality that made it feel natural and unself-conscious diminishes with disuse. This is why restarting physical intimacy after a long absence often feels strange, awkward, almost unfamiliar. Not because the love has changed, not because the attraction has disappeared, but because the neural architecture of physical closeness has become less practiced, and unpracticed things feel unfamiliar, even between two people who have known each other for 30 years. Here is what the neuroscience says about rebuilding those pathways. They respond to gentle, consistent, low-pressure physical contact, not the pressure of a full return to intimacy, not a conversation about what has been missing. Simply touch. A hand held for 30 seconds, sitting close enough that arms touch. A hand on the back as you pass in the kitchen. These small, daily, deliberate moments of physical contact begin to reactivate the neural pathways of closeness. Without pressure, without expectation, simply by reminding the brain and body what it feels like to be physically near the person you love. From that foundation, in most couples, everything else follows naturally. Not immediately, but reliably. Because the desire was never truly gone. It was simply waiting for the pathway to reopen. Here is what these 5 consequences have in common. None of them are inevitable. None of them are permanent. And all of them are responsive to the same thing. Consistent, low-pressure, deliberate physical closeness. Not performance, not obligation. Just presence, just touch, just choosing daily to remain physically connected to the person you have built your life with. The prostate stays healthier. The vaginal tissue stays more elastic. The cardiovascular system stays exercised. The neurochemistry stays balanced. And the neural pathways of closeness stay open. All 5 from the same source. The daily choice to stay close. If you watched this video because something in the title resonated, because the absence it describes is one you recognize, I want to say something directly to you. The time that has passed is not wasted. The distance that has grown is not permanent. And the awkwardness of restarting, however long the absence has been, is not a sign that something is broken. It is a sign that the pathway needs to be reopened. Gently, without pressure, starting with the smallest possible gesture. You do not need a perfect moment. You do not need a conversation first. You just need to reach out. Tonight, in the smallest way. And trust that the body and the relationship will remember what to do from there. If today gave you something, a piece of information, a reframe, a reason to reach out tonight, then this channel is exactly where you belong. At Connected After 60, we believe that the conversations most couples are having privately and painfully deserve to be had openly and with good information. No shame, no judgment, just the truth about what the body needs and what the relationship is worth protecting. Subscribe for a new video every week. And if this one helped, share it quietly with someone who needs it. Take care of yourself and of each other.